Hello people, last time we learned about molar mass and I thought today we would learn about chemical reactions. So what is a chemical reaction? Well, a chemical reaction is a process in which chemical reactants are converted into products. So in this case, the reactants are carbon and O2, which will be converted into CO2, which is the product. And we knew from last time what molar mass is. So if we have 10 moles of carbon and 10 moles of O2, how many moles of product will be there? Well, we know that one molecule of O2 will be mixed in with one molecule of carbon to make one molecule of CO2. So because of this, the amount of moles of product is just the same of each of the reactants. And in this case, it is very simple because all of the reactants mix in and there are no excess reactants. But what about this case? There are 10 moles of carbon and 5 moles of O2. How much CO2 is there then? This isn't obvious at first glance. But we know from the other reaction that 10 moles of each of the molecules will make 10 moles of the product. But in this case, it is clear that one of the reactants will run out and therefore stop the reaction before the other one can be used. In this case, the reactant that has run out is called the limiting reagent because it limits the reaction's potential. And then the reaction that has not run out yet is said to be an excess reagent because it is an excess at the end of the reaction. So how can we calculate the amount of reactant that's being used? Well, we know that the limiting reagent will be used first, then the reaction will stop. So it is just the moles of limiting reagent because the other molecule cancels out evenly to make one molecule of product. Therefore, 10 moles of carbon and 5 moles of O2 will make 5 moles of product. Now, in some cases, you'll get problems like this, where the amount of grams of reactant is given and you have to find the amount of product. Given this scenario, you'll have to apply the principles of moles and molar mass from the two previous videos. So the first reactant is pretty straightforward and simple. The carbon atom is just 12 atomic mass units. The second one, the oxygen atom, is 16 atomic mass units. But since the compound is O2, we multiply this by 2 to find the overall molecular weight. Now, for the first reactant, since we are given the amount of grams and the number of grams per mole, we can easily find the amount of moles of carbon. For the second one, O2, we apply the same process in order to get 5/32 mole of O2. Now we have to apply the principles we learned earlier in this video about limiting reagents. Once one is used up, the reaction cannot continue. Therefore, no matter how much carbon we have, since we are limited by the amount of O2, there will only be a maximum of 5/32 moles of CO2 produced. Since the CO2 molecule is just the addition of a carbon molecule and an O2 molecule, that is just 44 atomic mass units. We can use this to find the amount of grams of CO2 in the end.